Hi guys, today is Friday the 23rd of December and this year Christmas kind of snuck up on me and I was very surprised to learn only a few days ago that tomorrow is Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays! Tomorrow on the 24th I'll drive up to my parents to spend Christmas with them, and that only really leaves today if I want to be able to publish a video on Sunday like I normally do, and I really want to stick to that schedule. Luckily, I was able to take today off from work, so let's head down and get busy. Oh geez, it seems like every time I come back to the boat, it's in a big mess, much bigger than when I last left it. It's gotta be those pesky Christmas elves. First up on my to-do list for today is to trim the piece of compact laminate I'll use as a countertop in the galley to size, and also to cut the hole for the sink and for the fridge. And that piece of compact laminate is hiding underneath this paper. A while back I asked for you guys suggestions on what color I should go with for the countertop. The dark grey got the most votes and then followed by the black. While reading the comments on that video, I came across a comment that suggested that I should try scratching the samples to see if there was any kind of difference in how easy they were to scratch or how much the scratches would show up. My initial thought was, they're both compact laminate, so why would there be any kind of difference? But I decided to give it a go anyways, and oh boy am I glad that I did. What I did was just to use a screwdriver to put some scratches in the surface of each of the samples, and I had to use a lot of force to scratch those surfaces, so that's certainly a good sign. But what happened was, and I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but the scratches on the dark grey are way more visible than the scratches on the black. It's almost like this dark grey surface is painted on and then it's a slightly lighter grey underneath, and then when you scratch it, that paint goes away and you have those slightly lighter grey scratches, whereas the black is just black all the way through. That little scratch test made up my mind, and I've decided to go with the black. I've got these two pieces of compact laminate, and as you can see, they're cut roughly to size, but I still need to trim them. And I think I'll start with this outside edge here, because if I make any kind of mistakes here, they're likely to get covered up by the teak fiddle I'll put on this edge. The hole for the sink, on the other hand, there's nothing to hide these edges here, so they'll have to be perfect for this to look good. And seeing as I've only really cut compact laminate once before, it makes sense for me to start with the easiest edge, where it doesn't matter if I mess up. I'll use a little bit of masking tape just to make absolutely sure that I won't put any scratches into this. God dang it, this cheap flush cutting bit is starting to come loose again. That is the last time I'm gonna try saving money on bits for my router. It's just not worth it. See how wobbly this bearing here is, and that is exactly what caused me to mess up that sheet of plywood a few months back. And it's simply just this little screw here working its way out. But the thing is, if this becomes lodged at a funny angle or drops out completely, that'll cause me to mess up this sheet of compact laminate. And for the price I'll have to pay to replace this, I could have bought multiple really good quality flush cutting bits. For now I'm just going to tighten this little screw back up and we'll push on, but I'm not going to cut the hole for the sink with this bit. I don't trust it. So as soon as the hardware store opens, I'll just pop by there and see if they've got a good quality one to replace this one with.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, la 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 la.
I'll pop out and see if I can find a replacement for this really crappy bit. I'll be right back. Well, that was a complete success. Ta-da! Sure, this thing is a lot more expensive than this cheap one here, but it should be well worth it. Let's find out. That was like night and day. Well worth it, in my opinion. I've just used my jigsaw to trim the two corners where the router can't go, so let's go ahead and see how this fits. Perfect. Of course, you have to imagine this with some teak fiddles on it. Something along the lines of this. Of course, this will be varnished, so it'll roughly have the same color as this. I think that is going to look pretty nice. I've gone ahead and trimmed the larger piece here to size, and that went reasonably well, with one teeny tiny exception, and that's right here. The countertop slowly started to slip, and I didn't notice it until I put this big dent here in it. But it's okay, the teak fiddle will cover that up. As soon as you put this on, you can't see that mistake. But I know it's there, and I am annoyed with myself over having made such a silly mistake. This is the hole for the fridge, and as you can see, it's a nice square hole. Along the edges of this, I'll put this teak molding. The purpose of this is to keep water from going down into the fridge, but this will also cover up any tiny mistakes I make. I'm about to cut the final side on this hole here, and this stuff is pretty heavy, so I want to see if I can use a bit of masking tape to keep this piece of scrap from falling out. Ta-da! That went fairly well. And again, you have to imagine this with some teak trim around it. That's why I've put this little piece over here so that you could get an idea of what this is going to look like. There's only one hole left, and that is the terrifying hole. Remember, if I make any kind of mistake on the edges over here, it'll be very, very visible. And if I mess this up, I might have to go out and purchase a new piece of compact laminate. And while this stuff isn't super expensive, it would still be a waste of money. So fingers crossed. I've already gone ahead and cleaned up most of the edge on my template here, and that is important because any and all mistakes in this template are going to get transferred to the compact laminate. It is a lot easier to sand out any mistakes in this MDF here. This stuff is pretty hard. I still need to do this corner over here. Now that I've brought you guys a little closer in, you might be able to see that this curve here is not perfect. There's a little bit of a bump here. I need to remove about 0.5 millimeter. The easiest way I've found of dealing with those corners is just to take a roll of sandpaper, just tear off a piece, put it around the roll of sandpaper, and then just use that for sanding. That's most of the hole cut. For the last bit, I'll of course use my flush cutting bit and the router. Now, my clamps had mysteriously gone missing, so instead of using them, I've just decided to use a bit of masking tape to secure the template to the compact laminate. Now for the terrifying part. But hey, if I mess this up, maybe Santa can bring me a new sheet of compact laminate. So far, so good. I've made it almost all the way around. All that's left to do is this corner right here. There was a piece of masking tape here that I've just removed, and now I'm just going to put one over here just to make sure that the template doesn't slip on me. This is absolutely perfect. I doubt a professional would have been able to do a better job. Well, minus my little dirty secret over here, but as you've seen, once the teak fiddle goes on, you won't be able to see this, so that's okay. Whoops, I almost forgot about the hole for the faucet. Anywho, let's see how this fits. Ta-da! I think this looks pretty dang spiffy, or at least it will once I've got all of the trim pieces in place. Messing around with this countertop took a lot longer than I had expected, like half a day longer. But yeah, it's okay. It's done now, so that's good. Now it's getting pretty late in the day and I need to head back to Obelix to take Jökull for his evening walk. But I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys. Today is the 24th of December. I've only got a few hours until I need to start heading up towards my parents' place, but I want to shoot a quick ending for this video. A big part of what I love about DIY is coming back to something that I've built, looking at it and realizing that I'm smiling because it's so satisfying to look at something that you've built with your own hands. But anyway, that is not what I wanted to tell you this morning. In the last video, I mentioned two things I wanted to show you in this video. The first was this exciting looking box, and the second was an awesome book. As for the book, it's this one. There's a link down in the description, and we'll also take a closer look in just a few seconds. This book has been recommended to me by multiple people, including a German friend of mine, and while I was visiting him, he let me flip through his copy. And about 10 minutes later, I went on Amazon and purchased one. The book is called Boatowner's Mechanical and Electrical Manual, and that is no lie. I'll show you the index in just a few seconds. Now, there was a minor snafu with my order, so I first received a second edition of the book, and that situation has since then been remedied. This is the 4th edition, and this is the latest edition of the book. This is without a doubt the best DIY book I have ever come across. And if we take a brief look at the index here, you can see that this covers a lot, and feel free to pause the video here if you want to take a closer look. And it's also got these really nifty troubleshooting charts. I've had a chance to look through both editions of the book, and if you're looking for a really good DIY boating book, you should definitely go ahead and pick up the 4th edition. The 2nd edition isn't a bad book, but you get a lot more in the 4th edition, and I think it's only around 40 bucks on Amazon. So yeah, go ahead and pick yourself up an early Christmas present for next year, I guess. But there's one subject that isn't covered in this book, and come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen a book that covers that subject. But that subject is cable management, which is an excellent segue to what's inside of this box. Bus bar, terminal block jumpers, fuse holder, although I think they might have sent me the wrong version because I don't need an integrated negative bus. ATC fuses, and this is the cool kind where each fuse has a tiny LED that lights up if the fuse blows. 100 meters of marine grade wire. And last but not least, some conduit samples. Why have I purchased all of the stuff I've just shown you when I'm not ready to start rewiring the boat yet? Well, because it's never too early to start thinking about cable management. I was planning on building the box or locker that goes above the chat table in there this weekend, and that's where my DC distribution panel is going to sit, and it would be awesome to start planning for some cable management. I'm starting to run out of time, but before ending this video, I want to answer some questions I've seen in the last couple of videos. These are all questions that I've seen in multiple comments. So the first question is, why don't you mount the distribution panel in the Galley? Well, for one, I want to keep the Galley as easy to clean as possible, and I also want to be able to switch off anything that interferes with my SSB from the chat table without having to go into the Galley. So the second question is, why do you remove the masking tape between coats of paint? And well, this was something that was recommended to me by someone I know, and supposedly it helps get a cleaner edge between the varnish surface and the painted surface. And I gave it a try, and well, I gotta agree, the edge does look better, although it is a lot of work. And as for the third and final question, oh yeah, the lights I was using for when painting. Well, there's a link in the description for the particular one that I use, but there's a lot of them out there, and well, my guess would be that any of them would do an excellent job. Okay guys, I better end this video here, but before I do, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays from all of us here at Sail Life. That's not the correct line. What? Geez, the crew really didn't appreciate being on camera. Okay guys, have an awesome Christmas, and yeah, I'll see you next weekend, if not sooner. See you! Yukul and I hope you've enjoyed this video. For more videos like it, click subscribe. Please consider leaving a comment and a thumbs up. It really helps me a lot, and I appreciate your support very much. If you're new to the channel, please check out the introduction playlist. If you want to watch every single video I've ever published, check out the playlist named All Videos. It contains every single video listed in chronological order. Ja, det var godt. Det var dygtigt. Det var dygtigt. Det var godt, bassen. Ja, let's go.